I have went through the forms on the computer. I have picked through every question. I have made sure that I went back and forth, up and down and around, and so I thought, and answered every question that I should have answered and submitted it, And then I look around the next day or two and I got returns. And I'm like, what did you returning this back for? What's wrong with it? Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the mistakes that I made as a new field inspector. And I'm also going to give you some tips in order to keep you from making those same mistakes. So we're going to jump right into it. And the first one I'm going to talk about is forgetting to take images. So now I know a lot of the companies are going to have it on their forms of the images that you need to take. Some of them may not, because there are some that won't give you a list of images because they assume you know what to do because you signed up to do the work. So there are basic images that you'll need to know offhand to take in the first place. But this right here is about already knowing the images you need to take and still missing a few. So I'm going to give you a little story on one of the things that I did. And because I've done it several times. Now, I don't need nobody to be thinking that I started off and I hit the ground running, like a boss. Because that was not the case. I have missed images, and some of the images that I've missed are images that you would think that you would take when you first get to a location. So let's use going to a home, for example. One time, I went to a house. And when I got there, as soon as I approached the door, I started hearing dogs barking. Okay, so it wasn't a dog, it was a few dogs, okay? So now I go into the home once the owner let me in because, of course, this was for an appointment. I walk in the house, the dogs are barking, it's like 3 of them. So it wasn't like a roo, 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 it was like a and they wouldn't stop. So, of course, the owner was trying to get them to calm down. She's like, stop, sit down. You guys know better. Behave. Quiet down. It was like a constant. But when she talks to me, it's more like okay, well, I don't know for sure when the house was built. I'm not sure. But she's talking at a low tone. The dogs are barking. So already I'm being thrown off mentally about what I need to be taken care of while I'm at this house. Now, I'm making sure that I let her know why she answered those questions, that I need to go on ahead and get started with the images because, you have to make sure that you keep people on track so that you can keep moving. You can't let them stray because sometimes they'll stray off and they'll be wanting to show you things that you don't even need to see. Well, this room over here, we renovated. Come over here, come. I'm already telling her I need to go this way and she's wanting to go that way. I know some of the older field inspectors can relate to this when they are insistent on showing you things. So now I have her showing me things. I have the dogs barking in the back, and in my mind the whole time, I know the images that I need to be getting at this point. So now by the time all of these things are said and done, I get in the car, I proceed with my day, and then I get home and I'm ready to put the information into the system, and I realize I've left an image off. I'm like, why did I miss taking this photo? And guess what photo it was? The photo of the front of the house. How did you forget to take the photo of the front of the house? Where was your mind? I had to think back at it, and I recall when I first got there, the insured opened the door before I can even get out of the car off the sidewalk. She was talking, smiling, waving, and it didn't occur to me at that moment to go ahead and get the photo. So by the time I finally finished, because remember now, my mind was combobulated. Come over here. Come over here. Let me show you this over here. No, I don't know. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you got to hurry up and get out of here. It was too much going on at one time, and I could not focus. So I forgot to get the image of the front of the house. Has that happened since then? Of course it has. It has happened on more than 1 or 2 occasions where I forgot simple images to get before I leave a location. And most of the time, it's not just because of things that are happening all around the environment. It could be simply because I'm just not either thinking or I'm moving too fast. So I had to come up with a plan, because there's nothing worse than to get home and start getting ready to put your images into the computer and you realize you left the image off. It's not an image on the inside, it's an image on the outside, okay? You've already been there, so you can go back and just snap the shot of the outside of the house. But who wants to do that? And you know what? Let me go ahead and stop right now and go ahead and say this. I've had people ask me, if you have to go back, do they pay you to go back? Of course not. They're not going to pay you to go back. They're not going to pay you to go back because you made a mistake. If you missed the image, you need to go back. And imagine if you miss an image on the inside of the house, because all of this is going on and it's something of importance and you have not taken that photo. Imagine if you do that. Now, because it was an appointment, you got to call these people again. Now, suppose when you called them the first time, they didn't answer and it might have took a couple of days. You may have to go through that all over again just in order to get them on the telephone. So think about it. Think about it. Let's throw a scenario out there. You go to the grocery store and you go to buy groceries. You grab your purse, you head outside, you go get in the car. And I don't know about, a lot of people like grocery shopping, but I hate the grocery store. If I didn't have to eat, I wouldn't go. So imagine leaving what you need at home, or you've switched purses, or you had your wallet in your pocket when you came from wherever you were going, but you changed clothes and you're not thinking about it, and your wallet is at home and you don't even know it. So you get to the store, you get all of this food, you get to the cashier and you realize you don't have money to pay for it. Okay, are you gonna have to leave your food? Yes, you are. And you're gonna have to go home. Are you gonna have to come back? If you wanna eat, you are. So yeah, nobody's gonna pay you for your mistake. You have to make that move and go ahead and decide and suck it up. Sometimes it was easy for me. If I needed to go back into the area, I knew I could go back and just put that in with my next ones on the next day. Just remember to make a stop and go ahead and get the image. But yeah, making sure that you get your images is a must. So what I started doing was, to make sure that I did not forget my images, was I had to set it in my mind to do my images in a particular order. You know, if you've heard me talking on the videos about doing images, I always say address, front of the house, left, right, back. If there's a pool, get a pool. If there's a detached building in the back, get the detached building in the back. You know, I always say it that way. So those are the way I take my images. When I first get out of the car, address, front of the house, side, back, pool, detached garage, roof. I make sure that I do it in that order. And if I am on an appointment, before I come out of the house, I always say, let me run through these photos and make sure I have everything I need, because I hate to have to come back over a simple photo. And I take my phone and I run through my images. And that way, when I get to the house, I already know I have everything I need. So once again, let's recap that. Make sure that you take your images in a particular order. I'm a particular person, so this is gonna be like a little story time video. I'm a very particular person, and I like to have things in a particular place at all times. If I don't leave my keys in a particular place, I really completely shut down mentally. Every time I walk in the house, I put my keys on the key ring, on the key, little key thingy. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the key hook. So my keys are hanging there at all times. When I get ready to go somewhere, I know my keys are there. It's an immediate thing when I come in to hang those keys up. I went somewhere and I put the keys inside of a bag. I wasn't thinking to take the keys and put them on the hook because I was tired and I just didn't hang them up. Turned around, got ready to go somewhere, and walked right to the key hook. The keys were not there. Immediately, like I said, I have a shutdown. I'm like, where are my keys? Oh, now you're about to have to hunt for keys. I am everywhere other than where I was. So now I have to take the time out, think about it. Okay, you went here, you did that, you came back. Where did you put those keys? Then I have to zone in on what happened in order to finally run across the keys. And it could take a minute for me. So to put things in a particular place is what keeps me functioning the way in which I function. Okay, so let's move on. The next thing is a no-brainer, of course, to make sure you have gas in your car. I have left to go do inspections and do a whole lot in a day, do a whole lot the next day. By the time the weekend roll around, I haven't pumped any gas. And then when Monday come, I get somewhere, and as soon as I'm getting in the car, on the way to the second appointment, and then my car says, ding, ding, you know, scares me out of my skin. And I look down, and my gas is low. How did that happen? For the most part, I make sure I keep gas in my car. If it looks like it's going below a half a tank, I'm going to go pump again. But when I get busy like that sometimes, I may not. So now I'm on pins and needles on my way to the next appointment because I didn't pump gas. So imagine if you got them back to back to back. So always pump your gas over the weekend or whatever to make sure that you have gas for the entire week, and you know you don't have to stop and worry about pumping any gas. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Taking ownership and learning from your mistakes instead of getting mad whenever QC has to send something back to you. Take my situation, for example. I have went through the forms on the computer. I have picked through every question. I have made sure that I went back and forth, up and down and around, and so I thought, and answered every question that I should have answered and submitted it, you know. And then I look around the next day or two and I got returns. And I'm like, what did you returning this back for? What's wrong with it? Then I go in there and pull it up, and it's something simple that I thought I did, but I overlooked. So what I'm mad for? Sometimes you got to take ownership. And I had to learn that, Deetra, all you're doing is stealing your own peace. Stop stealing your peace. Own up to what you've done. You messed up. You didn't make a clear description. Because, you know, they're going to ask you for a description of the location that you went to. Your description can't be all vague. You know, it's a house blue on the hill. And you know, you got to give a description of where you was. And if you're doing commercial, you need to do a description of the location and what they offer. You can't just say it's a big building, it's 2 stories, it sit on a slab. You know, so you have to take ownership of all the mistakes that you make. And don't be so quick to get upset when your forms are sent back from QC. I believe that one of the main reasons why I was getting so upset is because I know, especially if it took 2 days and then it comes back, in my mind, I'm like, why did it even take 2 days? You should have sent that back when I did it. Okay, so now time is went in for this week. Oh, this is not even going to be on my check. See, that's what I was getting mad about. But take ownership for the things that you do and just let it ride. And I'm going to give you another example with that. Story time. So everywhere I go, I'm going to have a card in my bag, and I'm going to have an ID. I'm going to always take my ID no matter where I'm going. If I'm going hiking, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take my ID. Because if something happens, you know, I need them to know who I am. Okay, so I always make sure I have those things. Well, one particular day, I went for a hike, and I pulled my ID, which is always inside of my wallet. Always, it's always there. I pulled it out, and I put it inside of a pouch on my waistband that I was wearing. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys because, you know, this is my story time, so I got to show you. Okay, so excuse that. Okay, so this is the band that I had decided to wear that day. Now, I used to sell these, and I used to get these in a bulk order through Alibaba, yeah, back in the day, and I used to sell them, and I had them the way, you know, I had the zipper here in the front, and you can open the zipper up, see, and then you can put your stuff in there, and it's waterproof, right? So I stuck my ID and my card inside of here. And so by being in there, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty thick. So by it being inside of there, I didn't realize that I had left it there. That's all I had in there. So I got home. When I went into the bathroom, when I pulled it off, I turned it this way, and I threw it over the railing in the bathroom. Forgot about it, didn't think about it. It sat in there for, I want to say, 2 days. Well, the next day after I wore it, I got ready to go somewhere where I needed to go. It was really important, and I pulled my wallet out, and my ID was not there. And I was like, where is my ID? Now, this goes back to being particular and putting things in a place at all times. To me, once again, I cannot function if my items are not where they should be. So I look around, can't find it. I don't know what to do. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to have to go to the DMV, get another driver's license. This cannot be happening. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I don't have to go to the DMV. I can order it online, I think. Can I order a new ID online? So, I don't know. I don't know all of this stuff. So, I shot a text to my son and I told him, hey, I done lost my ID. How can I get an ID fast? And he told me how to get one online, and then just wait and it'll be there. It ain't gonna take long, and they'll give you a temporary ID until it comes. But
Mom, if I was you, I would just give it some time. How do you not know where your ID is? You always know where everything is. How in the world could you have misplaced your ID of all things?
And he has a reason to say that, because I have everything of importance from way back in the day. If you call me and need something that is very important, and you know that one day I had a copy of it, I still got it somewhere in a briefcase. I always make sure that everything is where it should be at all times.
How did you lose your ID? Mom, just give it time. You're going to run across it.
I didn't think I was going to run across that ID. Always take ownership for what you've done, because I was thinking I must have dropped it, and somebody picked it up and didn't have the decency to say, excuse me, ma'am, you dropped your ID. I was going to blame it on everybody but myself. And the whole time, it was me. Bear in mind now, I'm in the bathroom, taking showers, I'm washing face, I'm putting on my little face mask, I'm doing the whole little thing, I'm just doing it. And it was there the whole time. And one day, the second day, after I had went on ahead and paid for another one, because I was impatient and I just knew I had to have lost it. I just couldn't wrap my mind around the fact that I go in the bathroom, and when I looked up, my mind said, it's right there, dummy. So let's just move on. The next one is, don't take it personally when you go to someone's house and they act as though they don't want you there. Or shall I say, they just don't act the way in which you would hope that they would. You have to put the shoe on the other foot, especially if it's not a scheduled appointment. You go to someone's house, you do a courtesy knock, they open the door, and they're looking at you and they're all grumpy. You can't let it steal your peace, okay? Because one bad apple don't mean that the rest of the village won't get fed. Did that even make sense? Anyway, rewind. Don't let it steal your peace, okay? Because you have to think about it if it was you. Because I don't know how you do, but now I'm much better, okay? Because I'm more peaceful, I'm more loving towards people. Things just change in my life when you change your life, okay? But at one point, you knock on my door and I didn't know you was coming. I may ignore you. Most of the time, that's what I did. But if I came to the door, I was snarling. Yeah? What? Who? For what? That was me. I knew how I was when someone would come to my door uninvited. So don't let it steal your peace. You have to think about it and put the shoe on the other foot. So with that being said, let's just move along. Don't take it personally when they want you to remove your shoes. If they ask you to remove your shoes and you're doing a field inspection at someone's home, it's okay. It's okay. Don't stress over it. It was at one point that, I wasn't prepared to have to pull my shoe off, but I didn't stress actually over the fact that I needed to pull my shoe off. You know what I'm saying? Like, gee whiz, I have a basket right in front of my door. And everybody knows when they come in, they got to pop them off. Why? Because once again, like I told you, I have a floor phobia. And I do not like my floors to get dirty. I know that they're going to get dirty. Dust flows in the air all day long. That's why you clean. But I still don't want your footprints. I don't want you to mess up and step on the wrong thing. And when you leave, I see a stain over on a rug or something. And now I'm down there trying to clean up a stain that you left. So there's nothing wrong with them asking you to remove your shoes. This is something that you just need to get prepared for if you're going to be doing field inspections and doing personal line inspections at a person's home. So I've already mentioned it before in another video, but I'm going to show you guys today for those of you who are not familiar with what I am about to talk about, which are your feet covers. So the blop you heard earlier when I said excuse that was my feet cover box. So I'm going to show it to you. These are my feet covers right here. And let me see what it says. It says PedSox. PedSox to test footwear. That's what they say. Okay, but that's not what I use them for. So I got mine in the color of black. See, they're just little black stocking like little thingies, right? But don't worry about it. They scratch. Okay, they scratch, and you put them on your feet. See, at the top there are ridges. Try to see, can I get it up here so you guys can see it? You see those ridges around the top? It's like a sock. So when you put it on, these kind, they don't slide down off your feet. So when I knew that I was about to do some personal line inspections today, I had a few homes I needed to go to. I would take these, and since my footy socks were always black anyway, I'm a black person, and did that come out right? Okay. I am a black color wearing person. That still sounded kind of, I love the color black. So I like to wear black socks. So my short black socks would go fine with these. So if I knew I was going to personal line inspections, I would take these and I would already put a pair on top of my sock. So I would put my socks on, I put this on, I put my feet in my shoe, and I'm good to go. When I get to a location, I already know they're expecting me to pull my shoe off. And sometimes I don't, they don't ask. Sometimes they do. They be like, will you please put your shoes off? And then sometimes I just know offhand. And being that I'm one who pulls my shoes off as soon as I come in the house before I step off my rug, I just gone ahead and pull mine off because I see they have shoes lined up on the side of the wall. I don't worry about it. Why? Because I have these on. Now, when I first started doing it and I was pulling my shoes off, I didn't have a problem with it until I would get back to the car and I can't see the bottom of my sock because of animal hair. Or if I happen to put on a pair of white socks and I get back to the car and I realize the bottom of my socks is dirty. Because you're making people pull your shoes off and your floor ain't even clean. But get you a box of these. If you don't have them, don't have to be this kind. It can be any kind. I got these from Amazon. I will try to leave a link somewhere for you guys to see this. But you can get these and put them on your top of your shoes. And then that way you don't have to worry about it. Always just follow their lead when you go to someone's home. You'll make your life a whole lot easier and make your job a whole lot happier. So once again, to be particular about your images. Make sure that you take the right images so that you don't have to go back. Keep gas in your car. Also, take ownership when you make mistakes and just go on ahead and fess up that it's me. This is what I did, and so I need to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. And don't take it personally when they don't want you at their home because it's their home and they just may not want to be bothered with visitors. And once again, don't worry about it if they ask you to pull your shoes off. Just do what they ask you to do and just be prepared so that you can do it. I keep a pair of those inside of my backpack too because sometimes I may leave the house and forgot to put them on. If they ask me, then I'll say, give me just a second, and I'll go back to the car and put them on my feet out of my backpack and then go back to the house. So with that being said, you guys know what to do. I hope you like those tips I gave you today. I know I was a little long with it. It's okay. Those of you who like my channel, you don't mind hanging out with me. And guess what? I don't mind hanging out with you. Thank you guys so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.